Hello and welcome to another episode of the Appelboom Bites podcast. Today is episode number 43 already, and today is going to be an amazing podcast because we have a very, very special guest. But first, let me introduce our co-host for today. It is the one and only Alecia O'Regan Casabon, and hopefully I pronounce your name correctly, Alecia.
You did. You have a perfect now.
Yeah, I tried it, the entire week. I practiced it for
it's
hours.
It's getting better and better.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to have you here on the show back again. Last week was a lot of fun with Gary about Fountain Pen Day. Today here we are in the weekend of Fountain Pen Day, so it's quite exciting. Most likely you already bought a lot of things, maybe not, or you attended a pen meet or whatever. But it's a busy weekend for us. We were recording this a few days ahead, so right now it's quiet here in the store, but this is like the silence before the storm. Alecia, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We have a really special guest, and she's not alone. Agnieszka, welcome on the show. It's great to have you here. Hi, you're from a KWZ Ink, and you have a very special little friend here with us. Can you introduce him?
Yeah, so this is Joost. He is 10 months old already.
Mm-hmm. And he's the little director of the brand.
Oh, yes.
You have a beautiful son. He has a lovely smile. I really like it. Yes. So, we're going to have an amazing four-way conversation, I think, right? Because he will most likely also have his input here on the show, and it will be a lot of fun. All right. Before we start the whole podcast, we always do the pen check. And Alecia, I would like to ask you to start with your pen check.
The pen check.
Yeah.
Today I have my my Bennu. I think this one's Euphoria. I always forget the names. But it's the iced caramel latte because I have a feeling we're going to be talking about coffee today. And this is inked with KWZ coffee ink, of course.
Of course. We're going to talk about that later on in the show, but thank you for sharing your pen check with us. Agnieszka, can you tell us with which fountain pen you're writing with today?
Yeah, so this is yes. So this is a Platinum Century pen with a very, very nice C nib. And I'm using this because I am testing the newest prototype of Konrad, which is with a little bit of shimmer, and this nib is so gorgeous. So all the shimmery stuff looks beautiful.
It's a beautiful pen indeed for testing inks, because with that nib you see a lot of ink. So it's a really cool nib.
Yeah.
Thank you. Look at my pen check. It's quite a special pen. I have it here with me. It is an ebonite pen. It's made by Magna Carta. It's the Mag 1000. It has yellow gold plated details. But that does not make this fountain pen so special. It is especially the nib that makes it so special. And now you're all wondering, of course, what's underneath this cap. So let me uncap it slowly, really slow. Because underneath this cap is a huge, huge nib. It is a number 10 nib. It's really big, as you can see here. Now it's almost as big as my head, but that's also because of the angle, of course. But it is a really huge nib. So for reference, this is my nose. I have a really big nose, and it's almost the size of the nib. So it's a number 10 nib. It's a beautiful nib. It's a beautiful fountain pen, and it's definitely one for every fountain pen enthusiast. So, Alecia, you can write that down on your list as well.
Yeah, add to cart.
Yes. All right. That was my pen check. Little short note, because this is the Fountain Pen Day weekend. And if you want to order something with Appelboom, please use the discount coupon FPD23 for 20% off. This is a really unique opportunity. We never give 20% discount, only on Fountain Pen Day. So if you want to take advantage of that, make sure to do that this weekend, because the code is only valid until Monday. And after that, it's over. So use it today. All right, Agnieszka, I have a question for you from our previous guest. It was Carrie he's actually Mr. Fountain Pen Day. He's the founder of Fountain Pen Day. And he has a question for you. And his question was, if you write a letter to anyone, dead or alive, who would it be?
Well, this is a hard question.
I know.
Really kind of hard. But, well, let me answer this way. Like, because I am a scientist, and the famous scientist in Poland is Marie Skłodowska-Curie. And also, she's a woman, she was a woman, and she was a mother. And me as a mother and a scientist, I want to write a letter to her and say how amazing woman she was.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yeah, I can imagine that.
I like what she did to chemistry, and also like how she simply how she dealt with her life, with the kids, and with all the story.
Yeah, I can imagine that is really interesting for you to share that experience. Thank you for answering that question, Agnieszka. Alecia, who would you write a letter to?
See, I knew you were going to ask me. I have thought about this all week, and I'm really torn between two people. One music related, and one just because I absolutely love them and have been obsessed since I was a child. So Jimi Hendrix,
Of
definitely
course.
in relation to music. And then the other person is actually somebody who is alive, and I would write to Stephen King.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, only if I could get a letter back.
Yeah, well, you never know that. It's depending on how you write the letter.
Has to be a good one.
Yeah, but you will write that letter, of course, with KWZ Ink. Agnieszka, how do I pronounce the brand name? Because that's always something that people are discussing online. How do I pronounce the brand name? Because it has a K.
Okay, in Poland we
W
simply
and a Z.
say KWZ. Yes.
Okay.
So in Polish language, KWZ, because it stands for the initials of Konrad. Konrad's name is Konrad Wojciech Żurawski, so this is the initials. But many years ago, when we were in Canada, attending the pen show, our friend had a nice name for it, and she was calling Queasy. And many people in Canada was calling Queasy. So I know that also some people in United States pronounce it Queasy. Oh,
I think it's a great name, Queasy.
But I don't look very nice because I'm sick.
Oh, okay.
Short appearance of Konrad. Konrad, can you say hi to the camera for 1 second?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Wow. I think this is the first show that we had so many guests on one show. We have 3 guests now. That's amazing.
Okay.
Agnieszka, can you tell us a little bit more about the story of how this all started? Because obviously it is Konrad, his name as the brand name, but how did it all start? Was it all his idea, or did you had some involvement in it?
Actually, when I met Konrad, he already was experimenting with the inks. And he was like, well, look, I made an ink. What do you think about it?
Mm-hmm.
So the brand appeared after like 2 years that we were experimenting together. We were, investigating the market a little bit. But most important, we were meeting with people, with fountain pen enthusiasts here in Warsaw, and we were giving them a lot of samples to test. And when we saw the enthusiasts of those people, like we believed that, well, maybe we can produce it. And also, it was more important that we found many enthusiasts abroad, because some of the samples, without our knowledge, just went to the United States, as it was a kind of sample changes between some, enthusiasts. And here's like, well, do you want a sample that no one ever tested? And it was like, wow, yes, let's try it. And then it didn't have any label, it didn't have any, like nothing. It was just, because I have a friend that produces an ink. He did this ink, I like this ink, and I want you to try it. And it was like, whoa, yeah, this ink is really nice, I like it. So other pen enthusiasts also wanted to try it. So simply we needed to produce a little batch, just to simply cover the curiosity. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And that's how it all started. But
Yeah, but
just wondering.
I didn't tell why actually Konrad was experimenting with the ink.
Yes,
Because
that was also my thought. Like, why would you think like, let's make an ink myself?
yeah, so Konrad is writing with fountain pens from the primary school. Me as well, because like in our generation, in Poland, we were taught to learn to write with the fountain pen ink from the beginning. And in Poland, it was not very easy to buy an ink which is different than blue or black, or that has different properties like water resistant. And when Konrad was in his laboratory during PhD studies, writing some observation about experiments and so on, he also wanted to use the fountain pen, but there was no nice waterproof ink, so that's why he wanted to experiment to make his own one.
Wow, that makes sense. Eventually you don't want to just write with blue or black. That would be crazy. Alecia, how many colors of ink do you have in your collection?
Putting me on the spot there. I currently have 54 fountain pen inks.
Oh, but that's reasonable. That's enough for the rest of your life, right?
Well, I thought this because I have so many that I use regularly. I assumed I wouldn't go through bottles as quickly, but there's 3 or 4 specific colors that I've gone through a bottle in about 6 months.
That's okay. All right. But Alecia, what is your favorite KWZ color?
Coffee, always. My favorite everything is coffee.
Of course. So I was wondering, how many coffees do you drink a day, Agnieszka?
Now I drink one coffee in the morning, but it's the best coffee ever, because of course Konrad is preparing the coffee. But because I'm also breastfeeding now, I can't drink too much coffee.
Oh yes, of course.
In daily, like before I had kids and breastfeeding, I was drinking like maybe 3 coffees a day.
So that was also the idea behind the coffee ink. Like, I cannot drink all the coffee anymore. Let's make an ink that smells like coffee, because then it's like kind of a substitute.
You are really close. Yes, it was one of the motivation.
But what was the real motivation?
Just we love coffee with Konrad. And we are like addicted. Konrad drinks more coffee than me, like 5 or 6 cups a day.
Oh, wow.
But just he loves experimenting because it's, I think, just
I
in
see
his
Alecia
nature.
like, yes,
Like when he
yes,
goes
5,
to
6
Konrad's
coffees.
room, he
I
bought
coffee,
different kind of coffees.
5 or 6 cups of coffee is a good day.
All right, but let's talk a little bit more about the coffee ink. So it's obviously for the love of coffee, but it really smells like coffee, right? So are there also coffee beans inside the ink, or how does that work?
No, unfortunately. We wanted to try to incorporate the real coffee, but it was too hard. So this is the coffee aroma, but we tried like 20 different aromas. So it's really very well selected aroma. But also what you need to know is that just adding an aroma to ink, it's not the end of the story, because if you have any standard ink and you add the aroma, it totally changes the chemistry of this ink, and totally changes the properties, mainly the surface tension. That's why we needed to invent the thing from the beginning. Like, so first we choose the aroma. This is good one. And knowing its chemistry, we could develop the new formulation that will match this one aroma.
All right, so the coffee ink, but it's safe to use, right? Because I heard
Yes.
sometimes questions from customers, then they're asking like, okay, but if there's an aroma in it, is it still safe to use in my fountain pen? The same with Iron Gall inks. They're always a little bit hesitant to use inks like that, but it's safe, right?
Yes, because the aroma was added not as an oil or something, but as a pure powder, like a pure substance that we were able to steer the properties of the ink.
And what about the Iron Gall inks? Is that safe to keep in your fountain pen for years and not use it?
Well, it depends what kind of pens, actually, because if the pen is a kind of a modern one, easy to disassemble and easy to clean, it's okay. If the pen is a kind of very valuable and old, like a vintage pen, then it's simply hard to flash it properly. But
Because can you
the
explain a little bit what is the
most
unique characteristic part of the Iron Gall inks?
Yeah, the unique property is that the ink itself is like a solution. So it doesn't contain any particles that are not soluble in water. But when it gets some oxygen, especially in the paper, it changes its chemistry and it becomes insoluble. So the particles are left in the paper forever. And when it comes to the pen, simply when the ink dries out, so has no medium that will keep those particles resistant to oxidation, it will also change into something not soluble in water. That's why it will be more difficult to flash it. If you rinse it a lot, or you can use some washing liquid media, it is okay, because you can still remove those residues. But the highest danger is simply that the water from the ink will evaporate completely, and the oxygen comes inside, turning the particles from to the insoluble form.
And we don't want that. We really don't
Yeah.
want that. So
Yeah.
let's just let the ink go on the paper and let it oxidate over there. I would like to discuss some other really popular inks of KWZ. It's the Sheen Machine inks, of course. Can you tell a little bit more about that? Because the Sheen machines We just it's crazy. I don't know what people do with it. Maybe they drink it or something, but they keep ordering it. It's crazy.
Okay, I think it's just fun to play with. Like, we were experimenting with such an effect, and we knew that people already were looking for some kind of tricky things in the ink. And there were some sheening inks already existing, but we wanted to give our value to this kind of ink and see if our formulation brings something new. And for us, it was just an ink to play with. And at that moment, we also met a lot of calligraphy artists that were really crazy about this ink because they use a lot of ink. They use also deep nibs, not only fountain pens. So they could create very nice effects with that ink.
Yeah, that's really nice. You have the Sheen Machine and the Sheen Machine 2. Is a Sheen
Yeah.
Machine 3 also on its way, or is that
Well,
something for the
we
future?
wanted Sheen Machine 3, and we even had the label design, like the color and so on. But this is like always a hard story for small business because it appeared that we can't buy the ingredients that we want in appropriate amounts. So
Okay.
simply the ingredients are not available for us. It was okay to buy for like a laboratory purpose. So we made some prototypes. We were happy. And when it went to the order, like a batch suitable for us, it was no.
Wow.
It was like you can buy the whole container, but not like small amount.
Okay. Well, hopefully there comes a solution for that because it would be amazing to see another Sheen Machine ink for sure.
Okay.
Another popular ink, I think, is the honey, right? I think isn't that the most popular ink of you?
Yeah, I think so, because honey is one of the first inks that were released internationally. So also, I think it is the mostly there are okay, not, many people reviewed honey simply because it is longer in the market. So
Yeah.
if you look for some review of our inks, most likely you will find review of honey. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That people love that ink because that's a really, really great color as well. There are some other new products that I also would like to mention, new on the Appelboom website.
New products.
One of them is an Italian treasure of Italy. It is the MontePetra. It is a new collection of Delta in the Treasures of Italy collection. For the first fountain pen in this collection, they launched the MontePetra edition. It is a limited edition to only 128 pieces worldwide, and it is inspired by the Italian village MontePetra. MontePetra is a village suspended in time in the province of Forli. It enjoys a panoramic position that dominates the entire valley from the hill, from the Savio River to the sea, and the entire Apennine slope that surrounds it. Guarding the small ancient village of MontePetra stand Sassoni, a famous archaeological site, sedimentary rocks composed of sand, gravel, and remains of fossil shells. Their formation dates back over 20 million years ago. The fountain pen, it is made by turning a solid bar and has a sterling silver cap band. Alecia, what do you think of this new fountain pen by Delta?
I'm obsessed with this. When I saw the link and I went on to look at it, I was like, is that cream with light brown going through it? And then when you actually like look at the cap band properly, it is so detailed. It like this is what I would consider like an heirloom pen for me because I want to frame it and put it in where I make my coffee.
Of
It's
course.
so beautiful.
That would have been my next question. Which KWZ ink would you put in this fountain pen?
I don't think I'd ink it because I'd be too afraid to write with it. I'm a
Come
very
on.
clumsy fountain pen user.
No, you can
But
write with it.
if I had to, it'd probably be coffee because
Of
it's
course.
my favorite ink, and the smells like coffee, of course.
Of course, that helps. Other new products that I would also like to mention is this weekend. It is, of course, Fountain Pen Day weekend. And last week, Gary already introduced this more or less on the show, but we're happy to show it here again. In collaboration with Esterbrook, Fountain Pen Day created a pen sleeve and the famous to-go cup from Esterbrook in the color of the year, Viva Magenta. The to-go cup holder is very convenient because it can either be a nice pen holder on your desk or a beautiful way to carry your favorite fountain pens around. Alecia, you received them already. What do you think of these?
I absolutely love them. The pen sleeve is really, really nice. It also fits an oversized SD very nicely. I think it matches the Botanical Gardens SD the best. And then I have my to-go cup as well. I love that they have both logos on it. So you have the Esterbrook logo on one side and then the Fountain Pen Day logo on the other side. It's beautiful, and the color is very holiday-y to me.
Yeah, definitely. And you're kind of a to-go cup collector, right?
Yeah, two at the moment. Third one on the way.
Very good, very good. Agnieszka, what do you think of these new kind of products of Esterbrook?
Well, for me, it's like fountain pens are like jewelry. So actually, it's very nice to look at, to have, but at the moment, I can't be tempted by any pen. I have too much.
All right. We will not show you anymore right now. Let's go back about the ink because I was wondering this. KWZ have quite a lot of inks. How does that work in reality? So how does that work by making it? Do you make them by batches or how does that work?
Yeah, we are making it in small batches, and we store like little amounts. And simply when we run out of some color, we then make another batch.
But you have them like in big bottles, like all the inks, and then if you run out of a certain ink, you make some new bottles.
This is the process is more diverse because like we have like the ink in like bigger bottles, yes.
Yeah.
So this is like a handy use to make the bottle ink in the moment when we need like more bottles, for example, because we also stock the bottles. I mean the final products. We stock for our needs like the batch bottles. But also when we see that we are running out of the batch bottles, we are making a big batch. Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine that that's a process that you have to look for carefully all the time, so you won't run out of the coffee ink. Otherwise, Alecia would have a big issue.
Actually, so much complicated because simply don't have so much space to store. That's why the limitation in this area is fine because then we don't stock too much.
No, but it's good, it's also good to only carry the good colors, right? So I know that recently you kind of cut a little bit in the assortment of colors. I think it was 1 year ago, maybe 2 years ago now already. But I think sometimes it's good, to focus more on the good colors and try to make special things like the coffee ink, for example.
And now we have more space in our warehouse.
Yeah, luckily. So there's enough space for future projects, and that's always good. Alecia, do you have a question for Agnieszka?
I do, and because I can't follow instructions as usual, I have two.
Okay.
The first question is, like, the coffee ink has been so popular with people that I've spoken to about it, and they love the idea of the smells like range. is there a plan for more smells like
Yeah,
inks?
sure. For us, it was a test. Always when we launch a new project, Konrad is so much stressed. Like, oh, really? People will like it? Are you sure? No. There are so many good inks out there. Maybe not. It's kind of, stress for us. So it was a nice decision just to first do one ink, see the reaction, and of course we have ideas for the continuation of the series. And of course, if Konrad agrees for the plans, but the next one can be It Smells Like Toffee.
Yes.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Alicia, do you have some other suggestions for a certain smell?
I was gonna say smells like cookies. I'm a cookie lover. Or you could make both myself and Joost very happy and do a smells like stroopwafels.
Yes, definitely. That would be amazing. That's like the best smell that you can.
Isn't
What
it?
is the smell of it? I've never.
Just caramel in heaven.
Yeah, actually, that's a good one. Yeah, I will vouch for that. I will vouch for that. Yeah,
And then my
I was wondering, by the way, because I got that question also a lot. So when you write with the fountain pen, that smells like coffee. So with the ink, it smells like coffee in it. So you actually smell the coffee, right? But if you send a letter with this ink, will the person that receives the letter also smell that coffee or not?
Yes. Yes. This is not, of course, so intense as in case of writing, but the smell is still a pleasant one. Yeah.
Okay, that's really nice. So that was actually tested. Like you sent a few letters to people and they could smell it. Like,
Yes.
oh, nice.
Yes.
Nice. No, of course, it's really important, because of course it's fun if you can smell it yourself, but it would be amazing if you send the actually letter and then that person can also smell it. So I just wanted to know that. Alicia, that was your first question. What is your second question?
Yes, my second one is going to be a desert island question again. So if you were stranded on a desert island and could only use one ink for your whole time there, what ink would it be?
This is so unfair, Now she has to choose between all those inks that she has.
But everybody has a secret favorite.
At the moment, it smells like coffee. Yeah, it's at the moment my number one.
I can agree with that, especially if you're on a desert island and you can't have coffee. I want the next best thing.
But if there would be a option that I have, it smells like coffee in a water-resistant version, then I will pick up this one.
Yeah, that would be even better. That would be even way better, because then you can write your story and it will be there forever.
Yeah.
That's nice. All right, Agnieszka, we're almost at the end of the show already. That went quick. But before we end the show, I always ask my guest to come up with a question for our next guest so we can start the show with that. So do you have a good question that we can ask our next guest?
I think that the topic of the letters is very interesting. So maybe the question like, how often do you write letters and why?
How often do you write letters and why? That's a really good one. All right. We are going to ask this question to Jair from Java Brands. They are the owner from Conklin and MontePetra. So most likely you're familiar with those brands. We're going to have a great podcast with him next week. Agnieszka, I would really like to thank you for taking the time here and sitting here with us and having this wonderful conversation about the wonderful brand of you and Konrad, of course. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alicia, I would like to thank you also for being my co-host again this week. And it is a pleasure again. And we will see you again next week.
Yes, you will. Thank you very much for having me. I think I need a coffee now.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Everybody that's watching and haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to do that right now. Head over to the Instagram page of Alecia.plans to see all her amazing things that she does. And if you haven't bought a KWZ ink yet, you can just head over to appelboom.com and order it there. During Fountain Pen Day weekend, once again, you can use the code FPD23 for 20% off. So it's also included on the KWZ Inks, but only this weekend. So be quick. Everybody, thank you again so much. And we see you next week. Bye-bye.